Broads Media.
Coffee with Broads is back every Monday and Thursday morning at 11 a.m. right here on YouTube. To join, you got to join the YouTube membership here for $4.99 a month, and you get access to Coffee with Broads. And not only that, you get access to our Discord as well. I love you guys all to death. Make sure if you're interested, you check out all the information down below, and I will catch you all. Well, no, you'll listen to the show, and then I'll talk to you later and close things out. Bye. They beat the Heat, baby. They beat the Heat, baby! Embiid down the stretch was a beautiful man. The jumper, the and one circus shot, the pass to Kelly Oubre, and this whole thing started for the missed free throws of Miami. Break it for chicken, motherfucker. Here comes the one, the only, Nic Batum. The dude was possessed. The guy was a monster. No one was slowing him down. He was best on planet Earth on that night. Man, wow. The block on Tyler Hero, forcing Tyler Hero to have a backcourt violation. And don't even get me on get me started on the savviness of when Kyle Lowry falls during the inbound pass. Do you know how many players might panic? Do you know how many guys might do the wrong thing, hesitate for 0.5 of a second, and you are screwed? You're turning the ball over. Bad things are happening. The patience, the poise. It's no surprise to me that Kyle Lowry, Nic Batum, it was even emphasized on the broadcast that they're 37, 38, 36, 16 years in the league. They're up there in their late 30s, and that's who's closing out this game. I've been saying it forever since I was born. I think it was the first words I've ever said after flying out my mother. I said the NBA's a grown man's league, ma. You know? And that's why you're watching them close out the games. Tobias Harris, woof. You know, but guess what? Every single time we get to the playoffs, it's the same conversation. They never get it done. They always have bad moments in fourth quarters. They struggle when it's very, 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 very hostile. They don't know how to win. And while they found a way to win this game, it's not just like they found a way to win a typical grind out. This was a game where you were getting pantsed for the first 28 minutes of the game. 20, 40, 30, 30, 28, 38, whatever, how many minutes of the game? The first half is what? 24 minutes. 24 minutes of the game. You're getting pantsed by this zone. You're turning the ball over almost every possession. Jimmy Butler is getting a steal every 6 seconds with an easy fast break two-handed dunk when nobody's even close to him. That's what we were dealing with. You were an abomination. It looked like you were getting ran out of the gym, and the entire fan base rightfully decided to boo the hell out of you. And that was deserved, and that was needed, because you are too good of a basketball team to let that zone impact you that heavily. You didn't even look like a competent NBA team. You didn't look like you knew how to play the sport of basketball. You were screwing up everything. And it wasn't as simple as, well, they're just not making their shots, because did you look at some of those shots? Did you look at some of those offensive possessions? There's a reason why they weren't shooting very well, because, you know, I saw a lot of people try to run with some optimism that all they have to do is start shooting better. Well, they're not shooting good because this zone has them by the balls. Now, Nick Nurse, to his credit, he was paid and brought in here to have the answers from a coaching advantage. Even if you're facing the one coach that I think is better than you in this league, you need to do it. That's why you're paid. And he did. And I heard him speak about attack in the zone. That's what opened up some of those three-point shots. And you got some big ones. You got some big shots by a lot of people late, all right, because Cam Payne gets thrown into the fire for, 3 minutes? But we can't overstate how important that one corner three was. Kelly Oubre finished a few, and he was flexing on a night where they missed a ton of layups. Tobias misses layups every time he plays a game, but it was very noticeable tonight. Buddy Hield, the Joel Embiid stuff, and he also had to deal with Jimmy Butler and him in the knee, and it's like, oh my God, is he okay? And then he returns, but then he wasn't in the game at a certain possession late, and it was all out of whack. Even in the beginning, you're like, okay, you took advantage. Joel Embiid putting guys into foul trouble, right? People are picking up two, but then Joel Embiid picks up two, and it looked as if they were dead. Zero, no pulse whatsoever, and they were able to recover from that. So I'm giving them a lot of love for not just grinding out a game late. And let's be honest, Miami had some answers. They were making buckets late. So it wasn't one of those where, wow, you only survived because Miami had 4 wide open looks and they just clanked them. Because sometimes you can escape and it gets really, really ugly. Okay, they might have not have played the best game tonight, but the fact that Joel wasn't strong until the final 4 minutes, the fact that Tyrese Maxey never really got going, he finished about 6 of 16 from the field, only made 1 3 all game long, but doesn't that show you what you have? Was there a Batum on the roster in previous seasons? Could you live without Tyrese or Joel Embiid cooking? And whether Tyrese wasn't here or whatever, if Joel Embiid and someone else wasn't playing their A++ phenomenal game, who was going to be that wild card? You didn't have one. Now you have options. Batum's hot. Batum is red hot. Keep putting it into his breadbasket. You know what it kind of reminded me of? Maybe it's just the bald head, but Shane Battier. For whatever reason, his structure, I don't know, the defensive scrappiness of Shane Battier as well. I did not expect to be talking about Shane Battier today, but man, oh man, I am just so thrilled with this basketball team, and I'm so damn happy because they really needed this. This game was so big. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, that facing the Knicks in the first round isn't that big of a deal. No, it's a big deal. It's a huge deal to not run into the same path when you're on this course to the NBA Finals of the Boston Celtics. Push that down the road. Push it past the second round. It is an advantage. And these New York Knicks fans, they wanted us. If you listen to my Hype Up pod, I actually played a little audio from one of my favorite shows up in New York on WFAN, which is their version of WIP, their midday show, BT and Sal, and they were debating who would they rather have, and they said, oh, man, do we want to stick it to the Philadelphia Sixers fans? It would be purely just because I want to see them all cry. I want them to feel the pain. They're way more emotionally invested than Heat fans are, and they actually think they have a chance this year. So that was them, and I'm paraphrasing, but sort of how they were feeling. And Sal actually goes, I don't want anything to do with the Sixers because Joel Embiid is an extreme talent, and they're not really a 7 seed. He was sort of talking about how, yeah, look, the Knicks, it's great we're the 2 seed, but of course the one time we get a 2 seed, we're facing a 7 seed that really is probably the 2 seed or the 3 seed. They just had to play so many regular season games without Joel Embiid, which costed them a bunch. But here you go. Here's another clip. I said I would save a few for the, just for the, we are getting closer to Sixers, Knicks, and just the appreciation of what's ahead of us now. This was the talk prior to us beating Miami. I just wanted to marinate, all right? This is maybe bulletin board material for us fans. Take a listen.
Who would you rather?
Oh, I'm sorry. I hit the wrong one. That's not the one I wanted to play. This is the one I wanted to play.
Listen, man, I'm in South Jersey, right? And I walked into my office this morning wearing my Knicks jersey.
That's right.
And I looked around, and I said, what? I said, go win your game, and I'll see you Saturday, you bunch of punks. Listen, no fear of this team whatsoever. I'm going to tell you why. The Knicks match up very well with them. Like BT said, we could throw a lot of fouls at Embiid. He hasn't been himself. Yeah, he's been scoring, but he's been a jump shooter. He hasn't been the same. I've been watching their games. And I think the Knicks are going to run circles around him. And I'm telling you this now. If we get Philly, Knicks in 5, mark it down.
Oh, God. You guys, no, be careful here, and thank you for the call, Adam. See, BT, you're leading a very dangerous charge here. You're leading a very dangerous charge. Yeah, I'm telling you, you don't want the Sixers. And now you're talking smack. You've already said they're going to beat them. Adam's saying Knicks in 5. We don't even know if they're playing the damn Sixers. They may not even be our problem. You're already getting the Sixers out of here.
I'm not saying sweep. I'm not even saying 5. I'm just saying a win, and I'll stand by that. Knicks will beat the Sixers. They'll advance. Knicks will beat the Heat. I think they'll advance. But I know that Philly's playing Chris Paul, but you got to look at who they're playing.
Oh, BT telling us to look at the schedule and devalue their wins down the stretch when they were 8-0. Now they're 9-0, including a Miami Heat team. It would have been so easy for them to pack it in. All right, fellas, we are failing, and we are failing miserably. A lot of people question Joel Embiid's mental side of the game. They say he isn't that mentally sharp up there. I don't understand the Embiid haters or the non-appreciators, because it's so easy to appreciate greatness. Yes, there was some annoyingness involved, a couple possessions and whatnot, but when the game mattered, that guy stepped up. That guy delivered. And I don't want to hear that, all he did was pass the ball. That pass to Stop it. Jokic gets put on the highest praise ever because he's one of the best facilitators in all of the land at that size. And then Joel Embiid's biggest knock for his entire career was he's not as good of a facilitator. He doesn't see the floor as smooth as he should. If there's a double team, he doesn't know how to hit the open guy. Well, this game shows you that you give him space in the fourth, you're an idiot, you're a joke, you're a dumbass. He drains a big shot. And by the way, if you want to bring him a different look, he will zip it in an area right where Kelly Oubre is underneath the basket. His passes and floor vision is absurd. And in a game where he's not shooting the ball well, it's easy to be hot when you're hot. It's easy for everything to feel good, and you have a ton of confidence when it's your night. What do you do when it's not? How do you handle the adversity? I wish it was Maxey dropping 40 plus. I wish it was Embiid giving us 38, 19, and 9, right? But sometimes it's going to be somebody else, and they had it where it was somebody else, and they had to counter something that was destroying them. That zone was causing them so many issues that they looked clueless. So they responded in game at half while getting booed from their home court. They figured it out and got the answers and then executed. 7 guys executed it perfectly. That shows me more stones than I ever thought this team had. I almost value this style of win more than I would if they just, maybe not won by 30 because they came out with a real sense of urgency and just kicked the team's teeth in. But let's say it's just a standard flow where you're not down 14 and you look miserable and lost, right? Like, let's not talk about a night where it looks like that. Let's look at it where both teams look competent and the game finishes 98-96 and both teams just fought their tails off and one team had to win with one final possession, but neither team necessarily played bad, but the Sixers won. We'd be like, okay, that's good. I almost value this type of win more than any possibility other than kicking them right in the teeth and blowing them out by 40 and everybody scorching. And we'd probably be like, well, that's not a consistent thing. And then I'd say, I don't care if that's the consistent thing or not. This was essentially a game 7. Yes, they do have a second opportunity, and then they'd be lined up against the Boston Celtics. But the energy in the building, the fan base that was headed to the Wells Fargo Center, the people tailgating, there was a different level of adrenaline tonight because the game mattered more. And if everyone was to shoot the lights out, instead of saying that's not sustainable, I go, you won a game 7 at home to shut up the noise about any sort of maybe you don't even make the playoff scenario. They're on 9-game winning streak. Hey. Stop it. I already know where it goes. Here I am almost bringing up something that's not even real and then having counter arguments. I've lost my mind. I've been doing this for too long now that I'm making things up. It's unbelievable. All right, here's Tyrese Maxey and how he praises his teammates. This is courtesy of Lauren Rosen. We needed somebody to hit some shots in the zone. Batum hit some big shots. Buddy Hield hit a big shot. Campaign hit a big shot. Paul Reed played really well. Everybody who played out there, their imprint was on the game. Pretty remarkable stuff, man. I'm so proud of this team. And since I just brought up Twitter, I just want to tell you guys that I am back on the Broads Media Twitter front. If you remember, about a year ago, we had a pretty successful Broads Media Twitter account, and then Elon Musk ended up suspending it when he went on one of his big raids there early on when he bought Twitter, whatever. I can never get it back. But if you go follow me on Twitter, Broads Media _, that would be greatly appreciated. We're trying to climb things back up, and we just started it today. We'll be incorporating podcast information. We'll also be incorporating clips and all that good stuff as well, and just normal social media. Kyle Schwarber hitting 2 bombs, reacting to it, all the good stuff. So I greatly appreciate all your love and support for sure. What a victory for this squad. The and one by Embiid. It was sort of a weird little hot shot, right? There's a bunch of traffic in the lane. He puts it up and one. Dude's a monster. We could joke about it all we want, that it was missed free throws, bricking for chicken that really spiraled this out of control for Miami, but there wasn't a lot of life in that building. And that was my biggest fear. If you are filled with angst and it gets to the point where you're booing your own team and then Tobias is getting even louder boos than everybody else, if I just want to give my personal opinion on that for half a second here, I think it was a little aggressive. Am I soft? I don't know, but I get it. He missed layups, and I felt that passion of boo as well just watching here in my basement. But I don't know. What's the good that comes from that level of harassing your own guy right now? I don't know. I just feel like we're so far past that. We just got to, appreciate this team as a whole and try and give them as much whatever as possible. But the boo, I think, is actually creating some sort of civil war that's unnecessary right now. I guess if Nick Nurse plops his ass on the bench and doesn't go to him anymore, then that's an easy fix, and maybe that's the fix. You got to ride what's hot. If Batum has this, then you got to let him cook again, and if someone has to pay on the other side of that, if it happens to be Tobias, then so be it. But I just thought it was a little harsh, a little extreme. If you were booing the team at an 8, he got a 12, and the scale only goes to 10. I don't know. The first possession of the game, the shot clock was winding down, and he sort of had his dribble picked up right there around the elbow a little bit towards the right side of it, and he puts it up in an unorthodox jumper shot, and he drilled it. And I went, whew, God bless him. He needed that big time. It's the first shot of the game. I'm telling him he needs it big time, or the crowd's going to be too hostile. He ended up actually hitting a very similar shot from that one later on in the action. Wow, that was exciting. I missed that thrill. It was super fun. And now I can't wait for the Knicks. That's going to be really intense and cool just because of the fan bases and the local ties. And I'm pumped. I'm pumped up. All right, let's run to the Anytime Hotline and catch your reaction out there to the big win by your Sixers.
I'm going to say, bros, I'm going to make a really hot take. And I want you to firmly believe if I am not, if it's valid. I think Batum should start instead of Tobias Harris. I really do think the way he came out tonight, the way he played, and what an unbelievable performance, and let's go shock the world with New York.
Let's go shock the world. I always think of the Fab Five when I hear that. I appreciate the call. Now, I don't think that's hot takey. People have called that all year long from the regular season perspective, and I'm just like, I don't know. You got to give these guys time to work through this. It sucks. It's ugly. It's unacceptable. But if you're going to maximize your roster by the end of the year, I think you have to get Tobias out of this funk, and the only way to do that is to let him play in these regular season games, especially when there's no Joel Embiid. Embiid, maybe he could find his confidence. So I didn't really mind forcing him then. But since you never really got it out of him, and that's not Nick Nurse's fault. The way I labeled that, it almost made it seem like I'm blaming the coach. No, it's on Tobias, and he never found it. So now that we are here and we saw the alternative, I think you have to give it a shot. Yeah, I'm totally open to that conversation, 1,000%. I don't think that's hot takey. I think that's a fine take right now based off of the current status of this team. My only fear when doing that is, and I want to look up exactly how many minutes Batum played, because that's a big thing here. So Nic Batum logged in 28 minutes. So if he started, my big thing is, when someone who is a role player gets slotted in, instead of playing 20 minutes, plays 33, well, what do those other 13 minutes look like? Because you can sometimes drain the power of that short circuit, or, it might fizzle out quicker than you would like. The reason why you're banging is because you're getting a hot 20 out of them. If you stretch it to 35, maybe you're not getting that same explosiveness, especially with someone who has as many games played and as many minutes logged in as Batum. Is a better way to try and keep him as spry over this journey. I'm just asking the question. I think you still have to ride the hot hand. So, and he almost played 30 minutes. I'm asking for 33 if you start. I mean, you could start a game and still play about 28 minutes or so. Kyle Lowry played 29. Maxey, Energizer Bunny out there playing 44. But yeah, Tobias only played 33, and he can give you 39. We've seen him log in some minutes throughout a night. So just something to think about. But no, I'm with you. I think it's definitely reasonable to talk about it. In reality, you sort of have to. I think it's a no-brainer conversation. Actually, if they don't, it's a fireable offense. Not saying if they don't do it. If they don't talk about it, then it's a fireable offense. They could talk about it. They may come up to the conclusion of, hey, we're going to ride with the Tobias thing, and if on the fly we see that it's not his night, we'll have a quick string. We'll have a quick leash on him, and we won't let him get to 33. He'll play 22. He'll technically start the game, but he'll only play 22. That's how I'm going to do it. But they're going to have the conversation. They have to. All right, let's go back to the phones.
Well, I like to eat my words. I really do. I thought by the halftime that we were going to lose, and that's okay. Because I don't believe in the Sixers. I really don't. But I've lost my voice, and I don't care. You know why I don't care? Because the Knicks ain't serious, dog. And I love the Knicks. I really do think the Knicks are good. I really do. I really do. OG and fucking Jalen Brunson, they're really good. They really are. And the Sixers better not take them lightly. But Embiid and Maxey. Let's get to the goddamn conference finals today, baby. See you, bros.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate the phone call. That's funny. I'm with you, though. We'll get to the Knicks stuff. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. But I feel you. The excitement, the energy, it's all there, and it should be there because Joel Embiid, because Tyrese Maxey. I want to take on Jalen Brunson. I want that. Let's see it. Let's have it. All right, people said that we couldn't get this one done, that the Sixers can't even beat the Heat, that Joel Embiid ain't shit. I've been hearing it for the last 48 hours. Well, we answered the bell. What are you going to do about it? Now, I'm sure we'll hear the same thing about the Knicks. Thibodeau, Jalen Brunson. That's fine. That's cute. But we're not really a 7 seed. Don't forget about it. Go look at what this team's record is when the big fella's there. And I thought this team got a little uncomfortable trying to force it to Embiid in that zone, and Miami did a great job of taking that away. But how do you answer? Well, you drive, you kick out, you find sharpshooters, you get others involved. And, when Embiid can touch the ball, it's short-lived. It's very quick because they're going to try and bring some pressure maybe from the backside. We saw Joel gets stripped at the top of the key with Jimmy Butler. Man, how many of those happened? 4, 5? It was nuts. It was just nuts. Of course, Jimmy was pissing me off there. I had to hear him mic'd up, talking to his teammates, showing good leadership, things that I wanted to still appreciate here in town. But look, we'll get to the Knicks stuff. I think they can handle the Knicks, and it's going to be fun. But reality is, where I am tonight, I am studying the fact that they did it in a very super difficult way. How many times was JJ discussing the bare knuckle fight? This is what Miami does. They muck it up. It gets muddy. You just won in a game that is all about that grindy, muddy heat culture. It was tough. That was a grind out game, and you won the grind out game. So I don't understand why this would maybe put some less faith in you, why it would take faith away, why you don't feel good about it. They won a game without Embiid playing well. They won a game without Maxey playing well. That shows you how competent they really are. And they really did it in a half. They did it in one half of basketball because their first half made me sick because it sucked. It didn't just suck. That was abysmal shit. Abysmal shit was that first 24 minutes. It can't get uglier than that. I'm proud of this team more than I ever thought I'd be. I'm even prouder now walking through it all because the game ended essentially 22 minutes ago or so. I mean, this is hot. This is hot and heavy, raw in the streets. You don't want to go raw in the streets. Got to watch yourself out there, fellas. All right, we'll take another call.
Holy shit, bro. That was the craziest basketball game I've ever watched. I mean, Nic Batum, seriously, season high points, like 6 threes tonight, and the game-stealing block. But what I'm more proud of tonight is how Joel Embiid responded to that fourth quarter. I mean, he was absolutely putrid in those first three, but the way he turned it on in the fourth, I mean, that was special. I'm not expecting him to go for 40 against this Heat defense. I mean, the way they run their zone with Eric Spoelstra, I mean, it's just too good. Okay, but what I do need from him is to make the open shots and make the right play, which he did both of those in the fourth. When he got down to Oubre for that and one, my lord, man, that was electric. Okay, and that was when I knew we were going to win the game. I cannot be more hyped for this series against the New York Knicks. The Garden's going to be electric. The Center's going to be electric. I mean, it is going to be one of the best playoff series of the decade. I cannot wait. Go Sixers.
Best playoff series of the decade. Incredible stuff. No, you're right, though. Joel Embiid in that pass, that's what has improved tremendously, is his ability to see the floor, know what's coming, and adjust on the fly because he was getting beaten down. It looked like Nick Nurse was Nick Sirianni. I didn't know if that was Sirianni or not. For a second, I had to wipe my eyes. Is that the guy who loses 8 straight? Oh, sorry, that was Flyers. I'm sorry, that was Flyers. The Eagles, though, how many did they lose? How many times did they collapse down the stretch? Both of these teams. What is he, Torts? I mean, it looked like the guy had no idea what a zone was when they said 2 days before that we're going to prepare ourselves for a zone. So I was dumbfounded. And I was like, what? You're going to get this crushed. You're going to get this beat down. And here's Embiid. Just unbelievable. He turns into the best passer on planet Earth. I mean, that's what he turned into. Ball at his chest, ball above his head. Here he is, jab stepping. Bang, read, react. Perfect. Threading the needle. He does it consistently now that now it's just a part of his game. That's how you know you've reached a point where you've really worked on your skill and made it actually work at a consistent level. We bring it up because we know it's that added piece to his game. But if you just watched his game every single night, you'd start to see these so commonly that, oh, yeah, that's Joel. Well, it was never, oh, yeah, that's Joel. It was always, oh, that's Joel. With the turnover out of the double team, right into the other team's hands. Oh, there's Joel. Now it's, oh, there's Joel. It's a huge difference, fellas. Huge difference. All right, everybody. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I'm sure you guys all enjoyed it as well. Let me know if you feel better about this team right now, or did this make you somehow feel worse? All right? I don't know. I don't see it that way. I'm a pretty optimistic guy, if you will. You know what I'm saying? I'm an optimistic guy. So, of course, I want to look at these positives. Thank you guys all so much for kicking it with me. I'll see you all on the next one.